What's up everyone? Welcome back to Quest Mode. Today we're looking at some of the best free-to-play games on the Nintendo Switch, including 6 that are available right now and 2 that are coming available by the end of the year. Now, most of you guys know this, but free-to-play means these games are free to download and play, but each of them includes microtransactions, whether it's for downloadable content or cosmetic items. That said, none of these games are pay to win. They're all fair and fun and definitely worth the download. So, let's get into it. If you're wondering when Overwatch is coming to the Switch, I wouldn't recommend holding your breath. But the good news is that Paladins, a similar 5v5 hero shooter that's free to play, is available and it's actually pretty darn good. And while Paladins bears a lot of similarities to Overwatch, what sets it apart is a unique deck building system that lets you pick certain cards, each affecting your hero's different abilities. All this customization gives Paladins an extra layer of strategy that rewards you for experimenting and finding a loadout that suits your style. As for game modes, it's got Team Deathmatch, where each team races to 40 kills, as well as Siege mode, where you've got to defend or destroy a moving payload depending on which team you're on. Finally, there's Onslaught mode, in which teams vie for control over a set objective. There are also a ton of champions to choose from, and if you don't want to spend a dime, you should have a good amount of fun unlocking each and every one. It's also worth noting that as of this recording, Paladins does not require a paid Nintendo Online membership. While MOBAs may not be as popular as they were a few years ago, they're still played by tens, if not hundreds of millions of people. And with Arena of Valor, one of the most popular games in the genre has made its way to the Switch. If you're unfamiliar with MOBAs, they're real-time strategy games that pit two teams, usually of 5 players each, against one another to advance through the map and destroy the opposing team's base. If it sounds simple, well, it's anything but. As with most MOBAs, Arena of Valor lets you choose from dozens of heroes, each with their own distinct abilities. If you want to be effective, you've got to learn not only the nuances of the overall gameplay, but also of every individual hero. It can be daunting, but man is it rewarding. When you succeed, the combination of required strategy and necessary teamwork makes you feel truly powerful, and when you fail, you'll immediately want to try again. As someone who's played hundreds of hours of League of Legends, I love that the Switch now has a free-to-play MOBA, and as with the other competitive games on this list, you don't need a paid Nintendo Online membership to play. Pokémon Quest is not your typical Pokémon game. It's surprisingly, even off-puttingly simple at first, and even more unusual, its graphics make it look a bit like a Minecraft clone. But this game is nothing like Minecraft, and its systems become satisfyingly deep after you've spent enough time with the game. Here's how it works. You begin with your starting Pokémon, then you set out to explore various levels which have you battling other Pokémon and collecting ingredients. When you return to your base, you can use your loot to cook various recipes. The different recipes then attract new Pokémon, which you can use to grow your collection. You can also customize each Pokémon with unique abilities that help you in combat. Again, the actual mechanics are surprisingly simple, but once you advance deeper into the game, the loop of gathering loot and using it to attract and upgrade new Pokémon does become addictive. That said, if you don't like grindy games, this might not be for you. Also, it's available on iOS and Android, and a lot of the reviews say that's where the game plays best, so check it out there if that's your preference. Chances are you've played Fortnite, and if not, you've definitely heard of it. The undisputed king of Battle Royale and free-to-play games in general, Fortnite drops 100 players onto a colorful island filled with random loot. Once everyone hits the ground, it's a game of survival until only one player is left standing. Pretty much the standard Battle Royale formula, so what sets Fortnite apart? Well, a lot. First, Fortnite is available on just about every platform, so it's instantly accessible to literally anyone with a half-decent internet connection. Second, it lets you manipulate your environment in ways that make things easier on you and tougher on your opponents. Want to snipe from atop that rooftop? Just build your way up. Or heck, why not build a structure from scratch? Making things even better is that the game features crossplay, so there's a good chance you can play with your friends even if they're not on Switch. Lastly, Fortnite's pay model is awesome. The only items for sale are cosmetic, meaning there's no pay-to-win advantage for players who spend more. Sure, the learning curve is a little steep, but if you keep at it, each frenetic match will deepen your addiction even more. Pinball Effects 3 is probably the most obscure game on this list, and it's also the game I'd prefer to call free to try rather than free to play. That's because only one table, the fantasy-themed Sorcerer's Lair, is free. The rest have to be purchased in the form of DLC packs that range from $3 to $20. Thankfully, these are some of the best virtual pinball tables ever made. There are dozens to choose from based on themes like Greek mythology, or famous film properties like Back to the Future and Alien vs. Predator. After downloading the Jurassic Park pack, I can attest that each table can take hours to fully explore, and discovering the secrets within each of them feels like a real adventure. Plus, this is way more than regular old pinball. The game features different modes like Classic Mode where you rack up a high score, a Competitive Mode where you and your friends pass the switch around and try to top one another's previous performance, and a Challenge Mode where you've got to achieve objectives within certain parameters. Ultimately, if watching this gives you any urge to play Pinball Effects 3, you should definitely download the free table. The game is currently sitting at an 82% on Metacritic, which is pretty darn good, so you really have nothing to lose. Fallout Shelter drops you into Bethesda's popular Fallout universe, but it takes a complete left turn from any other game in the series. Rather than a first-person RPG, this is a 2D simulation that has you building and managing an underground vault just like the ones you've explored in Fallout 3 and 4. Think SimCity meets Dungeon Keeper, but drenched in Fallout's retro style and tongue-in-cheek tone. Core to the gameplay is managing both your residents and your resources in order to expand your dwelling and keep everyone alive and happy. As you unlock new types of rooms, new abilities and resources become available, enabling you to do more interesting things like attract new dwellers and grow your population. Thankfully, you don't have to spend a dime to do any of this, but microtransactions are there in case you want to speed things up. Further into the game, you can even explore the outside world to stock up on loot, which makes for a fun diversion and keeps things interesting. So those are the free-to-play games that are available right now that I think are definitely worth your time, but there are two more games that are coming out later this year that I definitely didn't want to leave off this list, so let's check them out. When Digital Extreme's third-person MMO Warframe was released back in 2013, I wrote it off as a mediocre free-to-play shooter that didn't look all that interesting. In fact, I didn't even download it. But apparently, things have changed. By many accounts, Warframe now offers a rich, complex, and addictive action-packed experience. Basically, you explore the solar system to complete procedurally generated missions, find loot, and upgrade your gear. That said, if you're looking for an MMO rich in story or giant open environments, this might not be for you. But if you like looting and grinding your way through games like Diablo or Borderlands, and if you live for non-stop action, then you might really enjoy Warframe. If you're even slightly intrigued by the game, I recommend watching SkillUp's excellent review, which I've linked to in the description. Of course, the Switch version won't look nearly as good as the PC or console versions of the game, but if the enthusiasm of longtime Warframe fans is any indication, I think there's a good chance this game will be well worth the download. Warframe is set to release on Switch on November 20th. If you want to play Smash Bros. This fall, but you don't want to fork over the $60, check out Brawlhalla. Just like in Smash, you and 3 other fighters punch and kick it out high atop a suspended platform. The more damage you take, the further you're knocked back by each attack until you're inevitably knocked off the platform entirely. Sounds familiar, right? Well, Brawlhalla does differentiate itself with its weapon system. You can pick up weapons during the match, and when you do, your entire moveset changes. This adds diversity to the roster and a lot of strategy to the matches. However, let's be honest. No matter how much this game innovates, it's not going to get a lot of love once Smash Ultimate releases this December. Also, while 6 of the characters are free, earning the others through play can take a very long time, at least on the current versions of the game. Ultimately, if Smash truly is out of your budget, Brawlhalla will be here on November 6th. Well, thank you so much for watching the entire video. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, and if you want to see more content like this, check out my last 2 videos where I count down the top 10 action adventures on the Switch and the top 10 RPGs on the Switch. And if you never want to miss one of my videos, all it takes is clicking that subscribe button. We'll see you in the next video.